Good morning. It's a freezing cold February day, but the sun is out for the first time in ages, so we have a spring in our step today. Since the last video, we have finished totally cladding out the sides and the ceiling of the boat. We had to do a lot more tidying of the electrics along the way so that they came down underneath or through the cladding. But it's looking really tidy on the boat now. I've started painting the top coats of colour, and Henry has actually started on the fit out of the bedroom. So we'll go down there and have a look, see what he's up to. All right, mate, what are you up to down here?
Oh, hi. Well, just recently I've got a pump through Facebook Marketplace, connected that in to the water tank with these various fittings. Our local plumber is very good with that kind of thing. The water tank, we're going to insulate that because it's too big an area for condensation. We've got timber here that we're using from our house, which the builders there were throwing into a skip. So we're going to be using lots of that, in fact, upcycling. The water tank going into the pump, where the pump needs to connect to the accumulator, is kind of where it is anyway. And then from the accumulator into the water system, you can't see that at the moment, but that's going to be kind of down this area somewhere. I can shorten the water pipes as well, which is very good because it cuts down on the pressure through the system, so that's a bonus. We've got the bed frame is going to be continued. Well, this is the beginning of it, and I've got to allow access to get into the water tank, water pump, and those various bits and pieces that make up the water pumping system. I'm hoping to get the frames for the bed done this week, although what day is it? Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. And it's quite nice actually to be working on the actual internal parts of the boat now rather than the structure of it. So we're starting with the bedroom and then we'll move on and go through from this end right to the other end. It feels quite good actually, turn the corner.
On my everlasting hunt through Facebook Marketplace and narrowboat bits and bobs, I came across these struts from an IKEA double bed, actually king size bed, which is just what we want, which is brilliant because it saves us having to make all the slats itself. So Henry can just build the bed base and then we can put the slats on. I've decided that we're going to use 2 single mattresses, 2 small singles, 2'6" each, because that way we can turn them to aerate. You always need plenty of ventilation on the boat, and also it will give us access underneath to the water pump. So I'm just looking for those at the moment. The other good thing that I found this week was a bilge pump. It's new, surplus to requirements. We got it for about 40 quid, so we've just got one more pump to find and we've got the full complement then. Our builders discarded this piece of Celotex and it looks like it's going to be exactly the right size to clad our water tank. Luckily Henry's only made half the bed space so far, so he can take it all out and we can fit this around the tank to stop condensation. Again.
It's so easy to work with this stuff. Doesn't weigh anything, doesn't give you splinters. Brilliant. That almost does.
So, is there enough to do the sides?
I've got all this left.
Oh, brilliant.
So the answer is yes.
Woohoo! How's it going?
That's all right.
What's the foam like?
It comes out in a hurry,
Right.
and it's. I taped it there, and I could hear the foam pushing against it. Yeah, well, that's the sides and the front done. I've just got to put the top on now, so that should be quite easy.
So on the walls I've gone for a warm cream, and I've gone for an acrylic diamond matte. I like matte paint because it absorbs the light. It's not very easy to see in here. And on the ceiling I've gone for same colour but in a slightly lighter shade, and I've gone for satin wood so that there's reflection back from the ceiling and it makes the boat feel less closed in and claustrophobic. So I'm hoping that those two are going to work well together. One more coat to go on it all and then it will be finished. Next job to do is to get the trim up on the ceiling, and I'm painting it before it goes up because it's just much easier that way. I fixed all the ceiling trim on with pins and wood glue, and the bed slats turn out to be exactly the right height for holding it all in place, so leave that up for today and they should all be nicely glued tomorrow. Well, this is my last job for this week. We have to take a couple of weeks off now to go and do some building work at home. But I've got the trim done on the side of the boat, and I've got all the ceiling trim done as well. So the next job for me when we come back will be to run the trim all the way down the boat. That will be painted in a contrasting colour, and I'm going to keep all the vertical trim the same colour as the walls of the boat so that it's a nice clean line all the way down. H will be finishing the bed base, putting the drawer underneath and building the wardrobes. So yeah, moving on apace. Well, apart from building a boat and ceramics, my other big passion is cooking. And I thought I might put a recipe or something similar on the end of each video. Then if you don't want to see it, you can just skip past it. But if you fancy something nice and tasty, you can have a look. Am I qualified to do this, you ask? Well, I did train in confectionery catering, so I'm good on cakes. I had a restaurant for 11 years and a catering round, and I've been cooking since I was about 10. I love food and I don't like to compromise on it. I think that everything you eat should be nutritious and delicious, no compromise. So I'll show you a few things that I make, and if you want to give them a go, let me know how you get on with them. Today is Bliss balls. You've probably seen these around. They're really expensive and they're super easy to make. So today's is going to be a chocolate and orange one, and here we go. And here are the ingredients. I'll put the recipe at the bottom of this vlog, but what we have here now is 2 cups of dates, and if they're just bog standard dates, then soak them in hot water for 10 minutes. If you can get hold of medjool dates, these nice soft ones, you can use those instead, and then you don't need to soak them. I've got a whole orange, washed obviously and cut up into small pieces. 2 cups of desiccated coconut, half a cup of oats, 1/4 of a cup of raw cocoa powder. If you can't get raw cocoa powder, then ordinary will do, but this stuff is the bee's knees. I go for that every time. And then you want a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of vanilla. I haven't got any vanilla today, but nice if you can put a bit in. And if you like to, you can put a little bit of salt in as well, just to sharpen it. It doesn't need any more sugar in than is already here in these ingredients. First thing to do is to blitz the dates, and then bung the oranges in and give those a blitz as well. For God's sake, whatever you do, if you use medjool dates, make sure you take the stones out. I made that mistake once. Once they're blitzed, everything else can go in. And blitz that until it's a nice solid mass. Once you've given them a good blitz, you just take a small amount out. You can see how pasty it is. About a golf ball size, something like that. And then roll them into balls. Now you can just leave them like that, put them in the fridge and let them get harder, or put them in the freezer if you want to keep some of them. Or if you like, you can roll them into toasted desiccated coconut, or chopped hazelnuts, or some more cocoa powder, anything you like really. And these are great, they're really nice, really tasty. And the whole thing takes less than 10 minutes if you've got all the ingredients to hand. So there we go, your Bliss Balls bonus.